events that shape our view. BX has got the facts for you. BX the storyteller, bringing the spark, no one does it better. BX, you've heard the rest, but she's the best, yeah, she's the best. Oh.
But again, like I said, even with the call centers, right? They're outsourcing work. You said it perfectly. They're outsourcing work so that Black people don't take those jobs, start to accumulate more wealth and rise. You get what I'm saying? So they're outsourcing jobs that they themselves don't want to do themselves. Like the farming work, a lot of YT people don't really want to do that shit. There's a small class of them that will do it, but a lot of them don't want to do that shit. They rather pay migrants, pennies on the dollar, undercut us, and act like, oh, well, this country thrives off of migrant work, whereas it really doesn't have to. Oh, I think that was Ishmael that said that. It really doesn't have to, because when you look at places like Denmark and then different places, they do not need any type of migrant work. They just pay people correctly. That's really what it comes down to. It paying people correctly.
So, you said you wanted to tell me what the letter was exactly saying.
Oh yeah, yeah. So Harmeet is a she's
I
excuse me.
thought it was a male.
Now Harmeet, she directly from India, right?
Hmm.
But it's interesting though because she is super anti-Biden administration. Super
Mm.
anti-Biden. A lot of the stuff that she said in the past was
Mhm.
super anti-Biden, right? But interestingly enough, what she is saying, what she's saying, again, I'm not really sure how she is, you know, um, the assistant Department of Justice, Civil Rights Division. She's in a high place for civil rights. Let me just say that she's in a very high place, right? But it's interesting because this letter is basically a warning shot to Asheville, Buncombe,
Mhm.
I think North Carolina, you said, right? It's a
Yes.
warning shot to them because she actually identified that they plan to roll out this reparation proposal as race-based. And she's saying that, hell no, she's saying that's wrong. Reparations should not be race-based. And if y'all roll this out like this, it's going to be a direct civil rights violation. It's going to be a violation of the Fair Housing Act, Title 6, Title 7, and the Equal Protection Clause. So, strangely enough, she's actually saying that this shit should not be uh, race based. She's saying that this shit should be lineage based. So if y'all move forward with this, right? We
What? Where in the letter says lineage?
um
Even though I
so
know, but I just want to see what the
well
verbiage looks like.
this is the thing. The reparation proposal by Asheville Buncombe is that's a different document that we'll have to read, right? This is a
Okay.
counter to that document because that document is trying to make it race based.
Mhm.
And Harmeet is saying that it should not be race based. That's violating federal laws. That's violating civil rights laws. So interesting enough, the East Indian is saying that y'all better come correct with this shit or we're gonna strike it down.
Mhm.
That's
Mhm.
basically what the lady is saying, and that's surprising to me because she's from literally like Kurdistan or some shit like that, India. But
Mhm.
she's fully against them making it race based. She's saying that it should be lineage based.
Mhm.
Hmm. Interesting, very interesting. Disposition for uh a foreigner to have. Very interesting.
Exactly. Exactly. You got it. Because I was
Hmm.
looking at her name just now and looking
Hmm.
at the title under it. But there's this man that I met on Facebook, and he used
Hmm.
to say Hispanics fight for Hispanic rights, Asians fight for Asian rights. Black
Hmm.
people fight for civil rights, and he didn't mean the Caribbean, right? Um, and that's true. And see, but you know what? Simon, brother Simon, started telling us was that we really didn't need 1964. We had the Civil Rights Act of 1866 specifically for us.
Yeah, I wanted to start digging into those years like 1963 and see exactly what was
Hey,
going
Blue
on
Blue. Hmm.
because that's a very, very valid point. I don't understand why the Immigration Act of 60, what was it, 65 or 64? The Civil Rights Act is fine. The Civil Rights Act, I don't have a problem with it, but it's the Immigration Act that came afterwards that I don't really understand
Hmm.
why that was fought for on the same level. You get what I'm saying? To
Yeah.
me, because listen, if you think about it, right? Who was anybody communicating with um in any of those foreign islands while you over here in Jim Crow? Who were you
The
talking to? And
activist that was traveling.
okay, okay, I see. So see, that's
Thank you,
why
Blue.
there's things like Marcus Garvey. Why that's why there's things like people coming out and kind of being like, yeah, I don't know about that Garvey Act stuff, bro. I myself was like, damn, well, he was trying to do something for black people, whoop-de-wop. But now when you really think about it, now that it kind of makes sense why some of our old leaders was against people like Garvey. They kept coming over here and co-opting and sneaking little things in our legislation. You get what I'm saying?
Oh, Monique says the missionaries.
Okay. I see that.
Blue, North Carolina, they have a race-based policy for reparations, and this letter is a notice of intent to the commission that if, or to the city actually, right, that if they institute the proposal by the commission, um, they could be held in violation of what is that? Civil rights.
Yeah, there'll be. Uh,
Hmm.
yeah, it'll be a federal violation. They're basically saying if you move forward with these reparations as written, we're ready to investigate and enforce civil rights violations against you. They're signaling that the plan as it stands is unlawful because it uses race as the basis for distributing benefits. Harmeet ain't having that.
Mm-mm.
Harmeet says she's standing on business. So that's very interesting though, because you don't usually see um a foreigner having that disposition, right? You'll usually see
But
this
she's,
catch on.
I'm but if she works for civil rights, she would have to. If it's going to violate something, she would have to. But I'm wondering: is there a curve? Is she being more strict than she needs to be, or if what she's doing would be helpful, right?
Yeah, yeah. I guess that's the thing that's left to be
Determined.
determined. Hmm.
Hmm. So I want to say this: I do see and acknowledge. The Afro descendant immigrants who have either entered the room or requested to come up. My room is an echo chamber. When I speak about things that pertain to foundational Black Americans, I do not allow y'all on my panels. Y'all just do not get a say in anything that will be said here today because this primarily affects my community, not yours. This is not a whole flat blackness conversation, guys. Yeah. Go ahead, Ish.
I just wanted to piggyback. I was going to say it may be helpful because this isn't race based, or excuse me, because this isn't lineage based. So it might be helpful what she's doing just by proxy. Not that she intends to help us, but that she intends to point out that it's not constitutional because it is race based. And we don't want the Caribbeans and we don't want the Africans in on this. So I would say that would be a win for Black Americans. And she's basically doing the work for us so we don't have to do it ourselves and we can focus on other things. That's what I would say. And only because, it's a complete conflict of interest. You don't get to come here in 1965 and claim that you were a part of any of the harms here. You just don't. You don't. You have nothing to do with the building of this country. You have nothing to do with the commodification of Black American people in this country. And so you should. So race-based policy is a problem. They shouldn't get housing. They shouldn't get social programs. They shouldn't get benefits. They shouldn't get free schooling. None of that. None of it.
I
So,
hear Trump is defunding ESL.
oh, I'm here for that. Yeah, defund ESL. Our kids don't need it. We don't use it.
Hmm.
What do we need it for? Defund it. That money can go somewhere else. See, I'm okay with the extrapolation of, funds from these different programs that have been used for immigrants. Y'all don't need that money. That money can be rerouted back into the Black American community from the community that it was stolen from. Because you got to think about it. A lot of these YT people are living on stolen land, spending stolen wealth. And they have now extended that to the immigrants. The
Because they
Eastern
immigrants
Europeans,
too.
the Asians. Yeah, of course. The
Yeah.
Eastern Europeans, the Asians, the Latino Hispanics, the African and Caribbean immigrants, they all profit from that stolen wealth and they all profit from that stolen land. And you and I have talked a little bit about, what the Caribbeans have been doing in New York with purchasing houses and things of that nature. And so, I mean, that's not New York is not the only place that's happening. So yeah, that money can be those programs, those social programs for them can be defunded for them and be rerouted back into the Black American community or go towards the pot for reparations. Right?
Exactly.
So my thing is fine. Y'all white tea people want to defund these programs for these immigrants? Let them. Then that's less work that we have. Then we can focus on other things. Like petitioning the United Nations on the basis of ethnocide, right? We can address those things. So yeah, I see nothing wrong with letting white people do the work. Y'all think it's unconstitutional because it's race based? You right, it's unconstitutional because it's race based. Go ahead and do the work for me. So and that's where no, I'm serious. Like it's really just kind of reverse psychology. But yeah, I'm so serious about that. Like not even kidding. Because we have enough stuff to address. And that doesn't mean that we should trust them or ally with them or any of that. But if they're gonna address something like that we won't have to waste our time addressing because we have so many other things, then I think that that's palpable. With the exception of not trusting them. I don't have to trust when it comes to them pointing out that this is unconstitutional. I don't have to trust you to agree.
Hmm.
I can just agree. It's not constitutional. These people shouldn't even be here.
Right. Yeah. It's really tiresome because it's always something new with them, right? Good morning, yeah. Good
I
morning,
don't know when it's
KLS.
gonna stop. That's the problem. We got to figure out a way to make this shit stop, like completely.
Good
I'm just
morning.
sitting here thinking like we've been going through this for so long, and I'm about to be like a first time grandmother. It was bad enough having to raise my kids to be fearful of certain things, like watch out. The police come, get on the phone and call somebody quick. Those type of things you shouldn't have to say to your children. And now just knowing I'm bringing more generations up in here, It's like I feel like we gotta figure out a way to stop this shit
Hmm.
in general completely. Like somehow, some way, it's gotta get fixed. Like not functioning in a world where they're still above us. We gotta figure out how to climb up. It's like if you think about it, China was on the bare bottom with us, okay? China was being exploited for their labor. They were giving them nothing. But China somehow, some way, they got together, they worked, and they pulled themselves up. Right about now, we BLK people are the only people that are still at the very bottom. We really got to figure out a way to climb out of this.
China did something that we call in our communities staying on code, right? That's something that China, the Chinese, the Vietnamese, and the Cambodians that came over here, they did something that we call staying on code with each
And they
other.
did it well, and we're failing at it right now. They did it very well.
The reason why we're failing at it though, right? I wouldn't say we're completely failing at it because we got a couple things. We got a couple things, right? But the reason why is because it's people that look just like me and you, Black Royale,
That's what I
right?
mean. We
That
failing
have
at it.
absolutely you see what I'm saying? They have no intention on doing any community building with us. The
I
Chinese,
know.
the Vietnamese, and the Cambodians, they all knew that, listen, we can do stuff together. We need to get together, have meetings, but the ultimate goal is to bring this money back home. China,
I
China's
agree.
first world. China is a
No, I
first world
agree.
country, right? And
What
remember,
about the other two?
Cambodia. I'm gonna be real. Cambodia is not bad, though. It's not bad, right? Vietnam, you got to take into account the war and stuff, right? Not bad for a country that we went to war with, right? Um, I, I'm gonna tell you what, it's better than a lot of those Caribbean countries that ain't had no war over there at all. You get me? So again, um, it's something about the Chinese that I kind of be like, you know what, I gotta respect that about them boys because they don't try to over-represent in politics or nothing. Them boys literally just sit together and they do the shit. They do everything in secrecy and silence, right? But
You
because
said
we're
the key word, stick together. And
yep.
that's what we having problems doing right now. It's like we really gotta figure out how we gotta figure this out because right like I mean fuck. I respect China shit. I'm a little jealous. They didn't got us. I mean they have pulled their self up by the bootstraps all the way. Like China has just did it. Like they
Yeah.
went from
Good
like
morning,
a
unbelievable.
Hmm.
But you know what? China's also communist, correct?
I
Did
mean, I think at one point in time, right? They might still be communists. I don't know.
so? No, my thing is this. How can I verbalize it? They ain't had no choice,
Yes, they are communists. They are.
right?
People will
Mm,
say that they're not quite communists, that they're
mhm.
communist leaning, but they are, in
Ah,
fact,
I got
communists.
you.
And,
Right.
and and the thing about the Chinese is that even though they're not, they don't outwardly platform themselves, they are equitably as problematic in this country for a number of reasons. But the Chinese, because it's one of the oldest countries in the
Mhm.
world, one of the oldest empires still existing, okay, and they've existed for a very long time. So they've had time to perfect their approach. Whereas in
Mm.
contrast, Black America has not, we don't have the same mileage as they have. But here's what I will say. They're
Ah,
very good at covert operations, political covert operations, and economic covert operations. This is why they've been very oppressive towards the Singaporeans, towards the Tibetans, and so on and so forth.
mm,
And they have intercommunal issues on in their own country amongst themselves. They
mhm.
just because of communism, you don't see that, but they literally have lots of problems. Now, one of the things is though that we can adopt from the Chinese, which would be really really great, is their political star system. When you go to China and you're an immigrant or a foreigner, you cannot go there and have access to certain programs or land or opportunities in business. You have to be ethnically Chinese in order to have those things. But of course, that took time. That also took, the building of an empire that's been around for longer than the United
And I
States.
think we
We're
need
going.
that here. Well, for everybody, they have to been here from, nobody that just came in within, the past years. I mean, back
Oh yeah,
when they
I would
first
I would
started
argue
writing.
I would argue even before the officialization of the country. So I would argue pre 1776. I would argue 1619. Right? So if your ass wasn't here in 1619, you have no business involving yourselves in any of the affairs of the native population of this country. Because we got to remember, right? There's no nation, right, in human history that has prioritized foreign occupation to the benefit of the native population, and we are no different. And so that's what's happening is that they're prioritizing foreign occupation, and it's not benefiting the native population because it isn't designed to.
And they're giving out more citizenship than any other place too. Nobody is just freely passing out citizenship like America is.
Yeah, but y'all know why that is, though, right?
Yeah.
it's because of the threat of it's because of the threat of Black American people, right, rising in all of those different areas. That's really it's really a very petty thing that that kind of traces back to the same reason that they commission people to build a country for them that they want to claim as their own, right? They really don't want to do none of the dirty work, right? But they really don't want Black people to do none of the dirty work either, because that's going to propel us like it did in the past.
Good morning, Ray.
This is why I'm saying what I'm saying when I'm saying that we here in the United States, we here have to figure out a way that we can come together and pull, and then we as melanated people got to pull ourselves above, because I can't see it no way, and I may be cocky, but I believe the United States belongs to us. I believe it belongs to us. I believe our people bled on it, and I believe, they built it, and I believe it belongs to us. So I believe that we need to, one, come together, pull ourselves up. I mean, literally pull ourselves up and take back what belongs to us. And two, we need to figure out how to make everything work for us in here so we can build ourselves up, so we don't find ourselves in a really bad situation.
Yeah.
So did you see Ish comment where she said we've been doing that for over 500 years and pulling ourselves up isn't the problem?
Okay, I don't, because we own here. So only thing I'm gonna say is just think between the lines. Just read between the lines when I say pull ourselves up and take
I,
back what belongs to us.
I want to exclude melanated people because we're not the same people.
Oh,
Yeah,
I got you.
I think group economic people like you were saying earlier, BX, that lady that was saying, "Oh, I would never shop at a Black owned this and that."
Yeah.
That's the type of shit you will never hear out of certain foreigners' mouth. They'll never say no shit like that, right? Because they know the damage that just even putting that into the atmosphere. They know the damage that that does. So it's too many people in our midst that look like us, talk like us, or dress like us. And when you really start talking to them, oh yeah, my grandfather, my dad was from Panamania. He came over here with nothing. That's the issue right there. It's too much people that look exactly like us. That's why I like BX name, BX the gatekeeper, right? Gatekeeping is something that we didn't take no real account in for a very long time. I'll be real, and that worked against us. Like our leaders, I have nothing but respect for our leaders and activists, but the inclusion of everybody else, man, it worked against us. It really worked against us. Right? There are people who help. There are people who help.
No, it hurt us. I'm not gonna say it worked against us. It
It
hurt us
it hurt.
completely.
Right,
It
right.
took us all the way down because we did. Our ancestors did pull themselves up. They pulled themselves up, and after they demolished everything that they demolished that they did, that's when they started bringing in the immigrants. After they destroyed everything, they say, "Oh my God, these people can really pull themselves up." So they wanted to make sure that we could not. So what my point is, we can't let nothing and nobody distract us. We gonna have to like literally fight like for real, and do what the hell we got to do, because we can't. I don't want, like I said, another generation, being raised under these dang on people. I don't want another generation raised under them. Somehow, some way, we got to be smart and do what we got to do. I'm just trying my best to say what I got to say, but please read between the lines.
Well,
Immigrants have been coming to this country since the 1600s, and so they've actually been an integral part since the 1600s to what's happened to Black Americans. And a lot of the reason why, if you look at the race massacres, for example, the race massacres of 1919, New York and Chicago, the Irish immigrants, the Italian immigrants, the Chinese immigrants, they were all participating in that. So immigration has fundamentally been a part of a lot of the issues that have happened to our people, even before 1965, when the Part Sellers Act was passed, which was the Immigration Act specifically that allowed immigrants of color to come over here. So the immigration problem is not new. The immigration problem is almost as old, if not, the same age as this country. And this is why you have people like Dr. Claude Anderson, who have literally been telling us for 40, 50 years that we have to separate from the immigrants. The issue is not bootstrapping, because Black people have been bootstrapping without boots. The issue is that we have people who place the onus on how we respond to genocide and ethnocide and erasure, more so than they place the onus on the people who are perpetuating the harms. The other problem is that we have more people perpetuating the harms collaboratively than we do actually Black Americans. Oddly enough, though, Black Americans are still managing this, able to manage this in a way where we have been able to survive despite that all. But this is why we need to have things like reparations, which isn't just a check, which isn't just land, but it's things like protective class status, very similar to what the small hats have, because it not only enables us to protect our economic wealth, to keep people from extrapolating economically from us, but it also allows us to gatekeep the culture in a way where we can monetize it in the way that we want and secure that whatever we do build is protected and not destroyed. Because the issue is not building for Black people. The issue is what we build being protected, right? And obviously we cannot rely on the people who are perpetuating the harms to do that. And so we have to have redress. We have to have reparations. We have to have those things. It's not even that we're not all on the same page. It's impossible to get any culture or group of people all on the same page. That's just not, it's just impossible. It's not going to happen. Because there's no culture in the world that is a monolithic culture or even homogenous in how they look at things politically. The problem is the amount of time that it takes for us to address the harms, right? In contrast to how many harms there are and the fact that it's a multifaceted approach. And it's a multifaceted approach because the colonizer who, teams up with the immigrant, they have to produce a multifaceted approach to address how Black people have been able to survive harm. And so that, obviously it's a combination of environment and time. But this is why we need things like reparations. And this is why I said earlier, yes, sometimes that requires us to let other people work for us, like the old lady who's talking about, this whole motion here is unconstitutional and it's race-based policy. Let her make the complaint, right? And then keep a watchful eye on let her make the complaint. But yes, let these people work for us. But the issue is so much more that we have multiple groups assimilating under one banner to attack Black Americans. And it's the verbiage for me. It isn't the reading between the lines. It's the verbiage. Because when we say, well, we have to stick together, well, we have stuck together. And that's literally how we've survived, because we have endured things in human history that no other enslaved class has ever had to endure and come out on the other side to tell the tale. So the issue is not that. And when we start to adopt certain talking points, regardless of context, it reaffirms, right, the harmfulness behind those talking points. So my only thing is the verbiage has to change. How we talk about ourselves has to change. How other people talk about us has to change in regard to bootstrapping, because we are the literal embodiment and personification of bootstrapping. So that's my only point, literally. And as far as the immigration piece, which is an important part to mention, especially the Irish, because you have the Chinese who have been coming here since 1615. You have the Irish, a small group who came in the mid 1600s, and then the larger group who came in the 1800s. And then the Italians followed soon after that. And then, of course, you have some of the Eastern Europeans, some of the Polacks and other Eastern Europeans who came in between that span of time. They have been participating in race massacres and the destruction of Black communities, Black Wall Streets, even the Chitlin Circuit since the 1600s. So this is not a new issue at all with immigration. The problem is, and that's the part I've been trying to get people to understand, is that it's the functionality of immigration specifically. It isn't African, it isn't just Caribbean. It's the literal functionality of immigration and how immigration in this country was constructed. It has always been constructed to destroy Black people, and not to destroy completely, but to destroy in part so as to keep us a bottom caste. Because at the end of the day, they still need us. We were I don't know the proper word to reared, maybe. We were reared to be some of the best laborers, skilled laborers. And I'm not just talking about industrial work. I'm talking about infrastructure. I'm talking about high skilled labor, architecture, agriculture, horticulture, etc. And so they need that still. They need that intellectual curiosity. They need that intellectual prowess. And even going into the mysticism of it, they need that spiritual awareness and so on and so forth, because we also dominate in the arts. So they're able to extrapolate that intellectual property and that artistic and creative property while still, maintaining a kind of this overseer, if you will, on our community. And it is a collaboration between Mayflower YTs and these immigrant groups, and it's been happening for 300 years.
Yeah, I think that I like we got to do, I think we got to keep doing what we're doing. I think that the sooner we realize that all we need is each other, we'll get a lot further. Um, Hoping that the immigrants will somehow change. I'm not on board with that for the simple fact that since they've been allowed to migrate here, they haven't been in alliance with us. So we could take each period of time and see how they have undermined us. Um, and I'm gonna say something that I had said to, I believe it was Coach, or it could have been Jimothy, that we've been highlighting, like, why does everybody know who Marcus Garvey is? But if I bring up A. Philip Randolph or Elaine Leroy Locke or Booker T. Washington, some don't even know who they are. They don't know who the Pullman Porters are. Like, we have real master teachers and scholars and philosophers and people who are knee deep in the movement already. So thinking that one or two immigrants who came over here um, was carrying the movement is like crazy to me at this point in time, especially because at one point in time, if you follow Black August, you do research more because they got a calendar and they have each specific day that an event throughout Black history happened, right? So you learn about the Haitian Revolution, you learn about Marcus Garvey, you learn about these other people along with our revolutionaries. And I just think that it's time to highlight ours and kind of put their philosophy in place. And I'm talking outside of MLK, and I'm not going to disparage him. But Booker T. Washington wasn't on board for immigration and stuff. I don't think, no. Yeah, right? A. Philip Randolph, because he didn't really care for Marcus Garvey. And so Booker T. Washington, though, was about self-reliance, right? So I just think that we have to go back to the ways of the elders, knowing that what we were doing before these people got here. What do you mean you don't think we can? It's not going to be the exact same blueprint, but I mean,
That's I was talking to Lady Delfina for the share, but to add on to what both of you were saying.
Yeah, my page is private because my information is not for everybody, and I see some people that I didn't block that came in. We were talking. Willing to bet they didn't like. Well, one probably didn't like what we were saying. One, he was the Haitian, and then we have the weird one who's in Nigeria but left his half black kids somewhere and says his baby mama is in jail, and he wants to know all about reparations. You could sit down there. I can't stop you from listening. What you don't understand is on you. I don't have to let you on my panel. This is not your conversation. Anyway, I'm gonna get right to the point. Oh, you want to come up? Lady Delphina, you could come up. So my thing is that I think that thinking that we needed the immigrants actually put us at a disadvantage because now that's why people think we're not united. But like I said, when it's time to vote, when somebody touches us, whether it's white tea, a supremacist, or the correctional facilities, we are tearing things up. We are on one accord. But then I was always, and I just told Chris, that's who I was telling to. Um, with us, everything is an awakening. It's a process. It takes a lot for us to shed some type of conditioning, right? And I think that where I'm at, I feel TikTok is recess, right? People take TikTok as recess. I'm not saying they're not doing work off the app. I don't know what they're doing. But once, because when I log off here, I don't want to think about the work, right? So I want to get all my information, discuss it, put whatever strategies or we talked about, and get offline and get to that. But I see that Twitter, even though they argue just as much as TikTok does, for the most part, they're arguing from what I see, because it should probably tell me something different. And Lady Dolphina too, because they vets over there, right? And I'm the new kid on the block. But from what I see, they're arguing policy, but they actually sit and propose policy. Like they're in spaces that I don't hear anybody on TikTok being. So I think TikTok is like recess, where people come to cut up and have some fun, go by some Africans, some Caribbeans, some Latinos. But on Twitter, the people that my algorithm shows me that they're arguing about the work. Now, do it get personal sometime? Of course. We black. We gonna cut up. But
Well,
yeah.
send me a link so I could get on Twitter because I ain't never been on there. So if I get on there, I wouldn't even know where to go. So if you send me a link and I could be to a video already, that'll probably put it in my algorithm so I can see, please.
You got to go set up your page and stuff, and then give me a name.
Okay, I will.
Mhm. Yeah. So, and then they're doing too much in the government. There's the ones voting no for, and I'm talking about the melanated ones. But I've seen Asians go to Chicago, I think, in California. No, Latinos went to Chicago, and the Asians, I think, went to California. And was like, no. The lady couldn't even speak English, but she was voting no to a form of reparations in regards to education. She could not speak English. I think she just got in the country. So I'm not willing to even. I don't even want to knock the thought around in my head. They just not for us. Because
Okay.
they too are like white tea. They don't want us asking for anything or saying that we are demanding the debt that's owed to us, right? But they won't help us. They're not going to help us. You might get one or two that say, okay, yeah, they deserve to be repaired, but that one or two, it's just not the collective, and I can't think the collective is going to get in line. Where we'd be the competition, you know that, right? If the pay rate was the same all across the board, we'd be more of their competition. So I don't know. I think that everybody has to do what's right for them. And I guess before you came in, I was just saying that too. Like, if my purpose doesn't align with your purpose, then we could collaborate when it does align. But there's other people out there that probably feel like you, Black Royal. I'm just not willing to entertain it. I was a Pan African since I was 14 until I was 40 something, and I don't see the greater good. I do see some people that did the right thing within Pan Africanism.
No, I'm not a Pan African. Hold on.
No, that's just
I'm
my
not a Pan
go-to
African at
example.
all. I was trying to think more along the lines of how I
Good morning,
believe.
we are.
I'm thinking more along the lines that I believe that the United States belonged to our ancestors. That's what I think. And I was saying, trying to figure out a way that we can pull up so that we can take it back. That's my point. Because I really do. Like, I don't believe that these people should be over everything. Their whole thing is fear. And that's how they have, they keep us in, try and keep us in the ghetto. We keep pulling ourselves out because I'm not in the ghetto. And I bust my ass. That's my whole thing. I don't know how to say it, but I don't want these people over this world no more. Over this state in general.
Yeah, I get that. I don't think any of us want that, right? But let's take the Asians, and we're gonna go to New York. So there is a place in New York called Bensonhurst, Brooklyn, and there was a black youth. I believe he was 16. His name is Yusef Hawkins. So him and it was either his brother or his peers, right? Went into an area that's predominantly white tea, and they were going to look at a car. He was unalived by a mob of white tea people. Do you know who's allowed to live in that what was once and I call that a sun-up town, right? A part of New
Mm-hmm.
York is sun-up. Do you know who's allowed to live in there now? And I haven't heard any discourse about it.
Them.
The Asians. The Asians actually out. They don't have the generational wealth that the white people have, but they are out earning them annually. And I don't hear a peep from the white people. Doesn't mean it ain't happening, but they are less of a threat because they aspire to be the model minority, and they somewhat accomplished it. And I can look at Brooklyn to tell me that is true. So whereas, and there's black people on Facebook, maybe about 3 to 4 months ago, was complaining that he went into a shop in Bensonhurst. And we was looking at, and I'm reading the comments like, is he serious? He went to Bensonhurst? I still wouldn't go to Bensonhurst or not go there and expect to be treated fairly.
And
And
see,
he
that's
went.
That's my point. That's my problem. There should not be no sundown towns. Like this stuff got to go. That's my point. There should be no
Mhm.
why the hell do they get to have a town where they get to tell us we the fuck can't not go? I don't think there's no place in this goddamn world we should be limited to, because I feel like we built this bitch. I
Yeah.
really feel like that. We built this bitch. Like, why do you have sundown towns? I'm pissed about our truck drivers. Like this stuff doesn't make no sense. Why is these dang on people walking up and down the street? I'm sick of them too. I'm just sick of them all, to be quite honest. I believe it belonged to us. I keep saying that. I really do believe it belonged to our people.
Yeah.
A lot of our leaders was talking just like that too, from the 1930s, Black Royals. But you 100% correct. And this isn't like new. This isn't new verbiage, right? This isn't new verbiage. This come directly from our ancestors. A lot of our ancestors that they don't really like to talk about when they talk about civil rights, a lot of them was talking just like this. They were talking just like this. I'm talking about back, you can take it back to 1939. Uh, damn, I was reading this excerpt from this dude. I heard Tariq Nasheed name drop him, and I went and looked it up. And this dude was talking just like how we talking in 1939.
And that's crazy, because it's got to stop. You know what I think about every time I'm passing a traffic light, or looking at a table, or just watching TV, just thinking about the things that our people have invented, just thinking about that, and then sitting here thinking like, we got people that are out here, our people that are out here homeless and suffering from mental illness, and some of our children are in situations they should not be in, because these people have really, like, they have set us up for failure. They have brought in
Good
all these extra
morning,
people
Lisa.
to destroy us. Like, I know why they brought these immigrants in, and when I'm talking to the African panels, I let them know. I tell them, they did this to us on purpose. They're using you guys as a weapon against us, and you're allowing them to use us as a weapon. I tell them that all the time, and a lot of them don't get it. Some of them are starting to get it. I don't, or maybe they pretending. I don't know, but I say it to them because we are the people that has been fighting for this country for years, and I couldn't see myself picking up and fleeing and running nowhere else. I see they promoting stuff like talking about come here and come live here in different countries around the world now. I mean, literally, Canada look like got advertisement, or people saying if you want to live here, here's how much it costs. I'm not leaving the United States. My people bled right here. I'm fighting, and I just think, it's just so much, like, we have to really do like so much more in like our strategizing for real, because that's why I said I'm gonna go on over to TikTok, whatever the other one she told me, Twitter, and see what they're talking about, because I'm with it. My people didn't just die for us to continue to stay struggling. And these people, you got these companies out here that are still like generational wealth from these cotton fields and everything else. There's banks out here that was built off of slavery. I think any and everything that was built off slavery need to be dismantled.
Yeah.
My thing, I just saw that Basic, and nice to meet you, Basic. Basic said that immigrants don't care, and they shouldn't care, because the whole reason for them coming to America is so that they can make money and, try to make it pop. That's the whole reason why they come here. So them coming here is them being a buffer. And so I think the thing for us is not necessarily like, why would you want yourself to be a buffer? No, they trying to make their money. It's for us to understand that it don't matter what they look like, that if they are a new American, they are automatically a buffer, regardless of how much melanin or how little melanin that they have. I think that's a big thing for us to realize. So, because just because somebody is voting blue, or they're voting red, or they might be, have coily hair, or, phenotypically similar to us, it doesn't mean that they're not still a buffer, and they're not still incentivized to, and subsidized it to make sure that our people are bottom casted.
I don't think they should be voting at all, and I don't mean that to say.
I No, I agree with that. Hey, yo, you and I are on the same page with that, because how can I can't go to a foreign nation and start participating in their politics? Like, no, I am right there with you, Royal.
Yeah, I think that's crazy to me. Like this, I think it should be solely for the actual United States citizens that's been here. I don't think nobody should be able to hop in nobody politics at all. I think our politics should be our politics. Their politics should be their politics. Anybody that's not, because everybody's gonna have their own opinions, and I think their opinion should be for their countries.
That's why they built this narrative that America is this quote unquote melting pot, right? That's why they've been spending so much efforts on building that narrative. America's a melting pot, and we benefit off of migrant workers, migrant labor. Well, really, that's something that they kind of put in place to be a narrative to stop us from doing a lot of things. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly. No, I agree. That's why I said, with the wages going up higher, that's why I was saying when I came in, I was saying like trying to get everybody to stop work for like a couple of days to bring the wages up. It wasn't, it's not to say, oh, they about to be buddy, we about to be buddy, because I know that'll never happen. But that's the problem. This is why they're able to get these dang on migrants to do it, because they're willing to work for less than. They're and as long as we got people that's willing to work for less than, if we can get them dollars raised up to where, we can be happy and try to, the only thing I'm saying with them is just wages, because just try to tell them like, hey, because unfortunately, they can still vote on things, but if everybody stop working at one time, that'll make them look and say, hey, let's raise these wages. And then we can fight the fight elsewhere. But if the wages are still low and people still fighting each other to get the job, and they're going to give it to the ones that's going to take the less amount. But if the wages were up where we needed them to be, you know what I'm saying? And it ain't no reason why we wouldn't take our job. So we would be out there taking whatever job we going to get. And we'd be out there fighting to make sure we got rights for our jobs. And that would to me, that would stop the them putting people in, giving the jobs to people because the wages are low. I don't know if that makes sense or not.
But see, this government, what they doing though is like the immigration policy is a part of trade deals. When they're talking, and that's why immigration is a bipartisan effort. This is not just the Democrats or the Republicans; it's both of them. They're doing stuff to benefit the elites. And so it's a part of like trade agreement where it's like, okay, we're going to allow a certain number of visas, and we're going to allow a certain number of expats from your country, because a lot of these countries depend on remittances and shit like that. And then the people that are the handlers of these elected politicians, they end up keeping most of their profit, because now they have a bunch of cheap labor that can be exploited. So that's what the whole thing is. A lot of people have been like, oh, we're going to exploit labor, or who's going to be cleaning the toilets, who's going to be picking the tomatoes. That shit is like such propaganda, because anybody can be incentivized to work as long as you pay them enough money. And then like the blue, they be like, oh yeah, you know, we need to like they make it like it's a moral issue, and they say just because somebody is foreign means that they are they are harder working, and they give better quality, they're better craftsmen, and that is just a bold-faced fucking lie. So there's a lot of propaganda swirling around on every side, where they got people like advocating for exploiting vulnerable people. It got people, you know, over here talking about this other stuff. Ain't nobody looking at the rich asshole that's over there screwing everybody. And I'm like, okay, well, both parties, if you really wanted to do something to curb illegal immigration, you would, you know, find the people at the top, and the government would stop putting that shit in the trade agreements. But they're not doing that because they're not serious.
I thought Donald Trump was gonna stop the trade agreements and stuff.
No, he's still he's doing it in a different way. He is allowing 600,000 Chinese students into the country. 600,000 Chinese, and we're in a current trade war with China. It's all propaganda.
Damn it! I thought I was on Donald Trump's side for a minute.
Now
Well,
you on our side, you on black side, Black Royal. You on black side. So
I thought
yeah,
he was. I thought he was getting rid of all the immigrants. I didn't know he was bringing more in.
not and I'll say this, he is it seems like he's attacking a certain type of immigration, right? Like, oh, illegal immigrants, but there's a lot of visa violators and whatever. Again, he's welcoming in Indian. He ain't doing shit with the curbing that. He is welcoming in 600,000 students. That doesn't include anyone else. So, you know, yeah, Trump, there is some improvements of him. I personally would prefer Trump over Kamala, personally. But I didn't vote for either one of them because they ain't on my side. I'm like, let them take each other out. I'ma still advocate for exercise my First Amendment right to petition the government for redress of grievances and delineation. That's where my heart is, and to advocate for children, you know, for American children. But yeah, Black Royal, in my opinion, you was not wrong. You was not wrong. But Trump, he is not curbing immigration. Like, he's not.
Damn, I really thought. I thought he was trying to. Because I saw a thing where they went and took out a bunch of Asian people in the and was it Honda?
the
Still,
LG, I think
Yeah,
it was the LG factory. They said it was Hyundai, but I think that was really a LG factory.
okay, so yeah, so I thought he was getting everybody the hell up out of
Yeah.
here.
So he's
that's
trying.
what it's propaganda, man. That's what they want us to think. They want us to be like, oh no, he's doing this. Oh no, Biden was doing that. No, they're all still using immigration as leverage. That they all are. They might be, it might be presented in different ways. And now just look at the headlines though. The blue side headlines, blue leaning headlines are literally advocating for exploiting vulnerable people labor. That is, they want to sit around there and keep these people here because they're the only people that is going to sit around there and pick some shit for $2 an hour. Oh, it's pick some stuff. Meanwhile, they ain't getting paid $2 an hour. They're getting paid $20 to $40 an hour under the table. So it's all just a big lie fest. They're all lying. Both sides, Royal. Don't trust nobody.
And you know, to your point, like you said, right? That little $2 an hour that they take, right? That shit go a long way back where they're from. So it's kind of like it's kind of like in adjusting we got something called deployments, right? You go to a city that just got hit by a
Mm-hmm.
catastrophe or something, and you go there, you getting paid good money while you're there, but you ain't got to really be there for the entire year. You get what I'm saying? So it's kind of like the
Yep.
same thing for them. It's like contracted work where they come here, make the American dollars, send it back to their country, and be rich as hell where they're whatever respective country they're in, right? And that kind of further pushes them to it further pushes them to like send other people from that same country and rinse and repeat over and over until they got so much influence and power that they can really come over here and start being in the government, right? And these people know that that's what they're doing. But let me tell you what it is. White people are lazy, bro. I'm telling you, white people are very lazy. Even
I
when you look,
know.
Right. When you even like I don't know how much of y'all ever worked at a job site like with a YT person like side by side with you. They don't ever do as much work as you. They don't ever do there's always some reason as to why they can't do the same exact. They got you overexerting yourself, especially like in the restaurant industry and stuff. It's really I see this shit all the time. They don't do as much work as like black women or something in the restaurant, right? But they get tipped way more. They get tipped way more. So all of this shit is just history repeating itself. Back in the days when black people were
Mm-hmm.
working on the fields, they were sitting on the porch drinking juniper wine, right?
Mm-hmm.
Doing nothing, right? So that's really what it comes down to. They're lazy. They don't want to do a lot, like most of the heavy lifting. But what they will do is they will commission migrants before they commission the people here to to do a lot of this hard labor and stuff. So
I agree, and
it's
that's why I said we
One
need to
minute.
get them from above us. We got because they have positioned themselves to where they're above us. We need to fucking break that ladder that they have because
1 minute,
everything you
y'all.
just said.
So Ishin, Jimothy are the mods in the room. I'm gonna be going for like 2 seconds. But keep the conversation going. I'm not
Okay.
allowing immigrants up at this time, unless I mean I wouldn't call by ethnics immigrants. So, but yeah, they don't need to be talking about our policies and stuff like that. Not this conversation. This isn't for Africa, for Caribbean conversation. But I'll be right
Right.
back.
Okay.
yeah.
But
Good
yeah,
morning,
that's why I
Chuck.
said they really do. We got to get them from above us. You know, that's why I said if we got to hit we hitting like we striking, we got to for real keep striking. Like I'm steady posting. I just posted something where they were talking about SeaWorld, how much money they lost. And then they held like a concert at SeaWorld. And then they were able to recoup that money back because we went and gave them our money. We got to stop going to these goddamn businesses
You
and fuck,
seen
we got
that
to
black
entertain
woman?
ourselves.
That's
Yeah,
crazy that you
we
said
gotta
that.
start entertaining ourselves, you know?
I was saying to myself, what the hell Trina doing out there at SeaWorld? Throwing it in the crowd and shit. And I'm just like, yo, it has to be something behind this. When has SeaWorld ever invited black performers to come out there? They literally have black performers out there performing at SeaWorld, helping them build back. That's crazy
Yes,
that
getting
that's
their
back
money back.
there.
We got and what did we do? We helped them meet their goal that they were trying to meet. Like they fixed their hole and made a profit. It's like we
Hmm.
gotta stop letting these motherfuckers use us for money. Fuck SeaWorld. Fuck all these goddamn stores, you know? At this point, we need to figure out how we can get ourselves in line with some trades our motherfucking self and start doing shit on our own, like not relying on them. Oh, I don't know. We need to get some money together and come up with our own damn theme park or something. Shit, we need entertainment. Let's figure out how to entertain ourselves. Somebody bring it back a goddamn juke joint or something. But let's stop giving these people our goddamn money because we helping them stay above us. I don't want to give them another fucking dollar. I don't want them to be over me not another motherfucking generation.
Okay, the language.
Oh, excuse me. Let me. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm just passionate. I'm sick of them. Like, you know. Ugh.
Hmm. Yeah, yeah.
Good morning, black man. Good morning, too much. Good morning, Moni.
I mean, look at all that money they just made by holding a concert at SeaWorld. They targeted us. They targeted us, black American people.
Now, I don't think we were targeted because if you look at the crowd, we were not most of the people that were in the crowd, but we are very, I don't want to say entertaining like tap dancing, but
Good
when we
morning, Cookie.
perform like our energy and stuff like that, it is very magnetic. Like you can't hear like the real deal and not be moved in some type of way. So, are they able to commodify? Yeah, because the way the system is structured, they do have a lot more capital, and they're subsidizing. And this is going back to the bureau's point, where he was talking about like remittances and then coming and accepting the lower pay because it is more than they would get paid wherever they're from or whatever, and then they send in a lot of that money back. So essentially, through the payroll thing, that's kind of like a divestment in the American worker, right? Because workers are getting paid and the money is not circulating here, it's circulating over there. But then there's also the other part of that where there's a lot of these companies and these organizations that are hiring those people. They're also getting subsidized from the government, you know, because they are like, oh, here you're new here, you can go over there, they will house you, those you can go to these people's stores and buy the food, you can go over to these people's stores and you can get yourself some new Nikes and a new phone. Those people accept the vouchers and they benefit, you know what I'm saying? And it's all like a bunch of ownership that most of us for the most part don't have. And so, you know, not only are they you know, they're subsidizing the business owners as well as, you know, incentivizing the low paid workers. So it is very, very multifaceted. But yeah, it's not that uh, they need that we're sustaining. Oh, I had it, and I can't say it right now. But SeaWorld, like it wasn't that they needed our dollars to sustain them. They needed like our energy to get people to come to spend their money. You feel me?
Yeah, well, like I just said, we got to stop entertaining them. That's what we got to do. We got to stop entertaining them. We got to stop all that. That's why I said maybe we need to bring back a juke joint and entertain ourselves. Cause we just been building them up. I'm so mad that we've just been building them up, and we got to figure out a way to get up out of them, up under them. Shit, I'm trying
Yep.
to figure
And
out how to
then
get some land. I'm looking into some stuff now, to try to, do whatever I can on my part to put something up there for, our babies, our children. This is our future, and we fought. And yeah, I hear
no,
you.
but that's right. No, Black Royal. That's exactly what we are all supposed to do. Wherever the hell we are, our people, it's like there is a need there, right? And we can be the one to fill that need. So you're looking into getting land and you're also looking into implementing, you know, certain things or whatever, especially for the babies. That's exactly what we're supposed to be doing. And then I'm over here in Cali doing my thug thizzle, you know, doing my thing, you know, for our people. And we're two green cells in the Black American body, green, living, breathing cells that are going to multiply and produce more goodness for our people, more life for our people. We got Ish, KLS, the Bureau, all the people in the chat. We're all over the country, and being the green cells in a Black American body. And we are going to be the cure. And when we see the cancers, we'll isolate the motherfucking cancer, just like, excuse my language, but you know, just like the immune system. You know what I'm saying? We need more green cells than sick cells. And the more green cells that we have, the more it'll multiply, and our body will become increasingly healthier. You know, and remember, every cell is it we have a brand our bodies have brand new set of cells every 7 years because God is good. So we can be like everything is in cycles. And Black Royal, I think what you're doing is exactly what you're supposed to be doing, sis. Like you are over there looking at your land and you are like, okay, I have this concept. We are on top. We are on top, and I'm not even going to worry about the other people. We are in charge of our destiny and our ascension, and nobody's going to hold us back from that. And you are operating from that space, and that is where we all need to be. So shout out to you, Black Royal, and I am excited for
Absolutely. I'm in
everything
Georgia,
that
but
you
I'm
do.
from Cali too. Look, I'm from there, born and
Girl, so
raised,
we
South
we
Central.
probably
Look.
we could be cousins. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because my ancestral homeland is from Louisiana, so we came to California. My great grandparents came up here, but
I got
from
family in Baton
Louisiana.
Rouge, Louisiana.
Girl, what's up, cousin? You feel me?
For real.
Hey, FBA broadcast. That's not the point, bro. That's not the point. The point ain't about Trina. We know Trina SBA. That's not the point. The point is the efforts that we put into uh, saving businesses like SeaWorld. We need to be putting that into our own shit. SeaWorld is not our business, though. SeaWorld is, you know what I'm saying, a white tea owned company, right? They got all them damn killer whales in there and shit. They need to let them killer whales loose. You heard? Respectfully. I'm different though
He
about
said, "Free
SeaWorld.
Willy."
You feel me? I'm very different, like about children and animals. I do not play about children and animals at all. You feel me? So we're not really making that a point of contention here. That's we just showing an example of how they always use us to kind of beef up and rebuild and fix certain things. Because SeaWorld was going bankrupt. SeaWorld was losing a lot of money because they were being boycotted. People didn't like the whole, a lot of people became pro boycott and pro protest. You get what I'm saying? So that's not really the point. The point ain't about really Trina. The whole point is that all them efforts that we use, like how they threw that concert out there. It would never no concert out at no SeaWorld. They should have let all them white people go out there, promote it to them white people. But what they did was their advertising and their marketing is very sharp, right? You'll be scrolling on Facebook and you'll see a concert, and then you'll be like, "Oh snap, Trina!" Whoopie whoopie. You'll see it come up on your feed specifically because they're targeting our demographic. You get what I'm saying? So the problem ain't really Trina when it made that bag. I like that Trina when it made that bag. The problem is more so the efforts. These type of efforts we need to put into our own shit. I'm sorry, our own stuff. Excuse me. Black Royale got me. Black Royale got me
I'm
turned.
sorry, it's a little contagious.
Nah, it's
This
all
is
good. It's all good.
passion. This is passion. I love it.
Yeah. So
Y'all
that.
are what is Tether Bureau? Broadcast was just sitting in the queue.
Oh, I didn't see him. I didn't see him.
Now I just press the
Oh,
button. What
that's
up,
what I'm
Jimmy?
saying. I thought this was my dog. What's up, man?
Nah, what I'm saying is like we gotta think about it, bro. Like it's a business deal. If Trina get her bag, it's on us to do business with our people. We can go into the institution and extract money, and I'm not worrying about what they do if my money saves them or not. Now we supposed to go to our people like a Trina, and what businesses do we have attached to her stream? And if we're dropping the ball on that, that's self accountability. So I think we be looking at it wrong because we be literally turning words to gold, literally, and then we don't fully capitalize off of it in certain aspects, and then we blame somebody else. Once I start pointing somebody else, I take the self accountability away from me, and I make them have dominion over my success. You feel what I'm saying?
So when you say we looking at it wrong, what do you mean? How so?
I because I look at it from a point of we supposed to take accountability, meaning that we supposed to be like, okay, Trina and our artists went and got that money. What did we do with the money that we got from that concert? If we didn't invest in it or build community with it or whatever, that's our fault.
Oh,
I don't
brother broadcast, you're saying like, it's not just up to the people who are, the entertainers or whatever. It's up to like the masses. We actually have to make sure we have an apparatus for them to spend the money or to invest the money. Otherwise,
exactly.
that's a part of it. Okay, got you.
I see
I
what you're
agree with that as
What
well.
we as a community, what we step into. Let's just use Trina for an example. How is she's able to streamline, let's say, 10% of her money to this community that we've already got together, and this is what we're doing. All of those artists will be more than welcome to do that, right? Because they have a lot of money or they have a lot of assets or whatever. But we don't come together. We're not saying we don't. We should do more coming together as a community
No, you're right about
to
that, man.
for them to put in their vehicle, and then whatever SeaWorld got, whatever they got going on, is what they got going on. And when they go bankruptcy again, we got another artist that they gonna pay 20, 30, whatever $1,000, but we're gonna take our money and
I
do
see
what
what
we
you're
do with it.
saying. I see what you're saying. I
Mm.
see what you're saying.
All right.
Yeah, no, that's a good point, my
And
dog.
then start gatekeeping, and once we do that, we start gatekeeping shit. So where these tethers don't come through and try to, it's a free for all now. You feel what I'm saying?
Yeah, but I think that goes back also to Black Royal's point, like, where her head is at, or at least in Black Royal, I don't want to speak for you, but I just really love what you have to say, where you're like, I am building, like, I'm focusing on, getting my land and building these things. And granted, your lane is more so for children, or for the youth that are coming up, but you
Alright,
are
you know, let's get
focusing
100
on building
just
something
in
like
case.
that.
Right.
150.
Hey,
Yes.
hey, hey, bro, you know what this letter
Two
is
hundred dollars
on
for
the
some
page?
shoes. $150 for some shoes. Oh,
No, I
sorry.
ain't read it. Let me read
What
it. I
kind
ain't
of
read it. Let
shoes?
me read it.
Oh, and the Bureau, can I please say something about this
It's
letter?
too little though.
Okay,
Well,
okay. I could
let
explain
me
it
just,
to you if you when you want me to. Go ahead, Miss Lady.
I'm sorry,
yeah,
y'all.
I just,
My son, I just gave him 100. He talking about can he get another 100? He went to get today is his baby shower.
oh, he trying to be fly. He trying to be
Yeah.
fly. So with the and congratulations, babies are a blessing.
Yeah, tell
Um,
them yes.
so with this letter, it was like there's the one aspect where I already know that race-based policy is unconstitutional in the United States. So I'm already knowing that race-based policy is just not going to fly. And a lot of the times, these elected officials should know that as well. I'm not an elected official, but I even know that. And so when they start putting forth that type of policy, I'm like, are you doing this just because you know that it is going to be shut down? Is that why the party is allowing is giving you the green light to do it in this type of way? So, but that aside, I have a big problem. If you look at the name of the person who signed that woman is an Indian immigrant, and I have a big problem with the optics that this buffer class is sitting around here telling some native population of of a demographic that she is not a part of, what she watching and what she ain't going to allow. Meanwhile, her own demographic is being heavily subsidized by the government every year, which is why she's even allowed to be a buffer in the first place. I have a problem with the optics, even though I already know that race-based policy is unconstitutional. You feel me, panel?
Yeah, yeah, I feel what you're saying.
Yes, I do too.
But see, it's again, we gotta kind of review it and kind of pay attention to it, right? And see what else is gonna come out of this. Because to be honest, bro, I haven't even heard any black people say stuff like this, right? This is actually on point. This is what you're supposed to say. And that city of was it in North Carolina, Bunchcombe, right? They should know that too. They should know better because their proposal makes it race based, right? So now it makes me wonder what's going on in NC, right? In those seats that have them even presenting something that's race based because, like you said, that's where the native people is at. So what's going on with their reparations committee over there? Who was on that committee that's trying to like co-opt it? Because that's basically what this lady Harmeeta's saying. Harmeeta's saying, listen, this violates civil rights laws. This violates Act 6 and 7, and so it's like it's surprising to me that an Indian, he's directly from India too. It's surprising to me that an Indian is actually coming up with this position. I don't want to cake for her and say, oh, she stood on business, but essentially, this is what you want. Um, this is what you want people saying. Like, listen, that proposal that y'all got, that's race based, fam. That ain't gonna work. We giving y'all a warning. That's what this letter basically is. We're giving y'all a warning, right? And then when you look at her past and stuff too, she's very like against a lot of the Biden, Kamala. She's very against a lot of the Biden and Kamala proposals and policies and stuff like that. So I'm a little confused with this one because she is an immigrant. She is an immigrant. But then again, they have her like as the assistant in the U.S. Department of Justice or some civil rights division in the civil rights division. So it's like, that's weird. Why that ain't a black lady there? But she's saying the right stuff. So, I think, what I do is kind of sit back and observe and see what else he's saying, and I think it's probably also worth it to maybe forward some certified mail to her, and but I would work out like exactly what to say to encourage her to be like, yeah, bro, we're not going for that. You're exactly right. We should not be race based. This should be lineage based from people whose families were directly affected by it, not people who migrate over here and look just like me and wearing Jordans and shit and saying I'm black. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. I know Moxie said he gotta go soon, so I want to see if Moxie had anything to say.
Hey,
Hi,
what's
brother.
going on?
Too much.
Hey, what's going on, panel? How's everybody doing today? I'm actually trying to catch up and read. I just read the post with Ann Culture. I'm just reading the civil rights letter here. I'm trying to catch up to what you guys are doing. So can somebody just fill me in real quick before I speak? I don't want to speak out of turn or not knowing what's going on. So I'm trying to catch up to you guys right now.
So basically, the Asheville, it's Bucum County in North Carolina. They they had a commission already going on, and or a commission to for reparations, and they've put forward like a couple of dozen proposals. They've allocated 2.9 million already in their budget to implement some of them. And then on Friday, I think it was, the administration said, "Oh yeah, there's a letter that's going to go out." The letter that ended up going out is what BX has on her screen, which is from the head of like the civil rights department, if I'm not mistaken, or the civil rights division of the attorney general. And basically, in that letter, she says, "Hey, we're watching this because race-based policies are unconstitutional, and if you put forward any of these implementations and they're found to be race-based, uh, we're going to sue you." Basically. So that's where it is right now.
Yeah, that's insane, man. Because we need lineage-based policies, and there was only two races in the United States when the civil rights came out. There's only black and white. They made it race. We never made it race. We've always been for equality of all people, but we that don't mean that we go to the back of the bus, and that doesn't mean that the protection that was put in place for a specific lineage gets overlooked. I mean, they made a race based law when they put the Asian hate crime out there. That's race based actually. So this is just another game of trickery, man. Like I said, I saw I just watched saw the Ann Culture post on X, and she's right. But she this isn't the first time that she mentioned Foundation of Black America. She's actually mentioned FBA on Fox News. So this lineage based movement that the grassroots started, it's going mainstream, and this is just them trying to attack us. That's all they're trying to do. They want to make sure that they want to make us look like we're doing something wrong because we're standing up for our lineage, and we have to reject that at all costs. I mean, we can't go with that. When they put out letters like this is a scare tactic. This is a boogeyman. This is somebody saying, "Hey, man, I'm gonna get you. I'm watching you. If you do anything based on lineage, we're gonna label it unconstitutional." And they can't say that. That's not true. They've done specific things for Native Americans. That's race based. So when I hear things, or I'm reading things like this, and I'm seeing what's going on in our community, that just makes us more stronger. Why that lets us know that we're doing what's right. We're doing what's necessary. These are the attacks, and more attacks to come. This is what we're going to face, and this is what we're going to be facing from here on out. We're going to be facing people trying to change the narrative of the grassroots narrative. They're going to try to go against our lineage-based policy movement and try to make it xenophobic, try to make it unconstitutional, try to make it, we might have to take it to the highest courts of the lands. And this is all the things that we want to do, actually, because the higher this thing goes up, the more eyes and ears look upon this thing. So this is actually, as negative as it is, it's positive. It's positive for us. It's positive for what we're trying to do, because that lets us know that we're making moves already. The grassroots is not playing. So that's how I see it.
Yeah, I mean, we've been saying for at least me, like those of us who advocate for reparations, a lot. That's like the main thing. We've been saying that for 5 years. Like we've been ringing the alarm. It must be lineage based. It cannot be race based. Race based constitution is a race based law. Race based policy is unconstitutional. We can't do this. What are you guys doing? And the people, the grassroots that have been showing up, have been telling them race based policy is unconstitutional and it will not withstand constitutional scrutiny. It won't. So that is a good thing, right? That this is basically affirming what we're saying. And then, of course, there's still me that is like, girl, are you calling us the hard ER? Because I got a problem with that. But I'm trying not to be super emotional. So you're right, too much, and the bureau, you're absolutely right as well. And of course, Black Royal, I vibe with you 100%. As well as with our master teachers, BX and Ish, where yes, this was a slight, but it actually is to our benefit, and it
Right.
affirms what we've been telling the legacy orgs and all these other people that have been saying, oh, we are your ally, but they've been advocating for race based policy. And the last thing I'm going to say is this. There's the SB 518 going on in California. That's for the agency. And it's basically using the CLBC killed the one that we wrote. And then they're basically trying to put forth the one that with the governor's updates. But if you look at the language of the bill, it'll specify the descendant community, which is us, and everybody else. It says it directly in the bill. So they're either going to go with if they're going to go race based, then it's going to be, unconstitutional. Or if they're making it look like it's lineage based, but then they're going to include everybody, making it more of a UBI type of a thing. And it's crazy. So, anyways, thank you so much. Sorry for the long witness.
No, that's perfect. I mean, that's what's
That's facts. That's
that's what's
facts.
going on. Yeah, that's all facts. And you know, again, all news is good news right now, because the more they keep, the more. See, right now you're gonna have a bunch of white ring pundits. They're gonna start talking FBA talking points. Why? Because it benefits what they're trying to do. So we have to be we have to investigate that closely and understand it's just another form of co-opting what we're trying to do. So we can't just say, okay, we're gonna switch over and do, Republicans are saying what we want them to say right now. No, we co-opt them, we use them. That's our way. By them using our talking points, that's our way to start changing minds on the other side to get the reparations movement going. The more they talk about us, the better. When the Democrats use it, they're gonna, that's a form of them also co-opting. So when you have people like Amanda Sears talking all of a sudden, talking like she's the FBA, and she's always been for this, that's another form of co-opting. But we can use that again to infiltrate that party as well, because now we got both parties saying the same thing, and that gets us closer towards what we're trying to get, which is reparations. If all they gotta do is run that check, they run that check, they sign they sign their own they sign the end of their own system, and that's good for us. That makes it much easier. This is warfare, so that's a form of tactician and warfare when we get both sides speaking our talking points. Now, of course, they're going to try to put a flip on it, but our job is to call that out. And when we call that out and we yell it from the loudest position, like I said, we want things like this to go to court. We want to go to court on things like this. We want this to go to the highest courts possible. We want the world looking at what we're talking about. And again, it's only going to benefit us in the long run. So I see all this as a positive. Like I said, when I heard Ann Coulter say it on Fox News, I was like, oh yeah,
Oh wait,
We
what did Ann
ain't
Coulter
Russian
say?
bots no more, huh? Too much. We ain't.
exactly.
They
We
called
ain't,
us Russian bots 5 years
come
ago.
on.
That's what they
Ah,
was saying.
Come
Yep.
on. This just
I,
legitimizes us, y'all. It just legitimizes us and makes our point even stronger. So I don't, again, I'm always looking at it from both sides. I'm always trying to say what's the con in this, what's the game that they're playing, because if they're using us for a reason, and we just got to figure out what that reason is and call it out. That's all we got to do. See, once they say something, they can't take it back. So when they go off track, we just call it out. And again, we want it to be loud. We want the message to be clear, and we want it to be loud and on the loudest stage as possible. So this is all good. This is all good.
I want to just say to y'all too, because I kind of just recently got on these platforms, speaking like this. I was doing it on my Instagram where I also have my music page, and they took one of my biggest music pages ever. So, but I just want to give y'all props and commiserations too, because I feel like y'all kind of, help bring me into these kind of conversations because I was having these damn conversations with people that had no idea what I was talking about. They were like, "Yeah, that sound right though, bro." Because I'm rapping and stuff, but I also had like very political posts that I would put on my page. So I want to give, people like you guys, Lady Dolphina and Ish and BX and Too Much and even Black Man. Black Man was one of the first people I met on this app. I want to give y'all all of the praise and all of the compliments because you guys are creating this social commentary. Y'all are doing the groundwork. You guys are doing the hard work, the heavy lifting, right? And I think it's very important because when people come out on these platforms and start saying, y'all don't have any power, how the hell we don't got no power? When just our conversations is starting to move to mainstream media. Y'all don't know what y'all talking about.
I just want to say this.
Bureau. Oh, go ahead. Too much. My bad.
No, it's my bad. Sorry. I just want to say this real quick before I leave. BX, this is more. This is the type of stuff. You have the journalism degree. I think you need to bring it to TikTok. This is the type of stuff that we need to be talking about. This is the kind of news that the people need to be updated on. This is the kind of flavor that we need. We need our people in a journalist format, bringing attention and awareness of what's going on, and then we need to bring the strategy and solutions right behind that. But I commend you for talking about this today. I appreciate y'all for bringing me up. I got to get ready to dip out of here. But this is the grassroots right here. This is what we're talking about right here. Yeah, everybody's watching TikTok. I hope you clip this. I hope you put it on clips so everybody can know what's going on. I don't know if you have a YouTube channel or a Twitter account. Well, I know you got Twitter, but this needs to stuff like this. This is news. This is
Yes.
journalism. This is what our people need to be consuming. They need to hear it from us. How do we view this so we can shape the minds of how they should view it because they are us. So I just want to say that. Hey, shout out to the family. You're so
Thank you.
welcome. Shout out to the
Hey,
family.
Sister BX,
Y'all on y'all
you
y'all
gave
on
me a
y'all
mic.
Appreciate
You
you
gave me a
too.
Have a
mic. What's
great
going
day. Too
on?
much.
Because I definitely.
One
Thank you. Y'all
moment.
take care.
So Tuesday will be my YouTube premiere at 2:45 p.m. Um, yeah, that'll be my first live, y'all.
So proud of you,
Hey,
BX. Please
Well,
make
wait,
sure
well,
you
wait,
share
it's
it.
pre-recorded
wait,
Eastern
wait,
material,
Eastern
BX.
but it'll
time.
be
Hey,
in the
Oh
I
chat.
shit!
just
I didn't
got.
know you
Yes,
was doing YouTube.
Eastern time, Eastern time.
Hey,
There we
wait,
go.
guys. I just came into the space and I wanted to know. I just got out of church and stuff. So can you please enlighten me what's going on?
Oh, I'm sorry.
Hold on, we
So,
gonna throw a
I want to
block
be
party
that
for your
Negro. I don't
YouTube
want to be the
release.
Negro out of. I don't want to be the Negro out of the loop, man. Like, come on
uh,
now.
okay, so we have been
Nah,
talking
go ahead
about a
and get you a
myriad of
plate, bro.
things, but basically off of this letter here, it's from the United States Department of Justice Civil Rights Division. So Asheville, North Carolina has been having their reparations hearing. And so what is the commissioner of civil rights? So the Civil Rights Department went and sent a letter and told Asheville reparations committee, look, we hear you have this 30, well, we read you have this 38 proposal package for reparations, but if you implement it, you'll be violating the Fair Housing Act, Title VI, Title VII, and the Equality Clause for the 14th Amendment. So this is to put them on notice that is
Interesting.
saying that they
So
were
they try
putting
to
them.
all wait. Can we slow that down for like two? So they try to all lives reparations. Am I correct?
Not really. Their language is reparation, racism reparations, and yeah, anybody black
That's
can get
all.
these.
That's no, wait, but that's still kind of an extension of an all lives matter
Yeah,
type of
yeah, yeah.
like all
True,
black
true.
we need to. Okay, so what I mean by that is that anything that's not given directly to the descendants should be viewed as an all lives matter policy and or bill that's inclusive of other groups of people, but not us. That's what I mean. Just for a kind of disclosure and why I kind of phrase it in that manner. I don't, and I do want to come across as salacious and provocative because they're doing that to us as a people and as a lineage. So that's what I mean by an all lives matter type of bill or policy.
Yeah, yeah, we got you, bro. That's exactly what we're on the same page with you on that. But see what the lady that's over the civil rights department, well, she's the assistant, right? Over the civil rights division in the Department of Justice. She sent Asheville Buncombe, which is North Carolina. I guess she's preparing to send them this dossier here that's basically states that they're going to be in violation of several acts if they try to propose this as a race-based if they try to propose this as race-based. Now, the thing about that delineation is she's an Indian. She's directly from India. So I don't know if she's saying that in the context of, hey, I don't know if she's saying this in the context of, hey, there should be no reparations if it's not for everyone who went through things, or if she's saying that, hey, this shouldn't be race-based. This should be specific to the descendant of freedmen. So that's the next thing we have to kind of survey and
Yeah,
see.
because the Indian community, you got like Nikki Haley, she's an Indian woman who said some salacious thing. You have Vivek Ramaswamy who said some salacious things about our justice claim and stuff like that, and that's specifically coming from that side of the AAPI community as an Indian Americans. Like, and there's a couple other ones I can list off too. Kamala Harris, she is an Indian too. So there's a lot of these guys that have very negative views towards our justice claim. That's specifically to that community. I'm not even getting into, and I'm breaking it down by their nation of origin and or ethnicity that have these type of issues. So, so yeah, I think that we should be concerned about that. I think that that is a valid concern, especially coming from that community.
Well, here's the thing, delineation. See, now this is where I'm at the crossroads with the information because she's anti-Biden, she's anti-Kamala Harris. You feel what I'm saying? She's anti that Democratic base. So that's why I'm saying like this is a period of where we need to observe exactly what what her intention was and behind drafting up this letter. Is her intention to maybe pander to us and say, "Oh, hey, this is specifically for descendants of freedmen," or if it's a all lives matter thing, like, "Hey, there are a lot of people who are enslaved, and this isn't constitutional." So that's where I'm kind of, and I'm only there because migrants have a history of this type of verbiage. You get me?
No,
No,
Even
but
Yeah,
let
I
me ask
agree.
you
that's
a
a darn
question.
good point. Oh, go ahead, KLS. My bad, or BX. I'm sorry.
So is that the lady who debated Kamala when Kamala was running for president solo?
No, you're
I
miscuing the
don't
lady
think
from
so.
Hawaii. No, that's not
Okay.
her. And
Okay.
she's actually
Oh,
currently
Tulsi.
on
That's
the
Tulsi, right?
that's
Delineation.
Tulsi. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's
Okay.
Tulsi. And
Thank you.
Tulsi is
But she's
on
also an Indian woman,
Trump's.
if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, she's a
No,
conservative.
I don't know if
Isn't
she's Indian. I think no, she's a POC. She has so many admixtures. She has no loyalty. She should be quote unquote black in some regards, but she is a P. Well, I would designate her as a POC, a people of color. She has no loyalties to anybody, and on top of that, she's military as well. So she has no connections with us. Like she ain't up. She ain't don't. We don't even want to even. She's not. She's a POC, people of color, and I think she even identifies herself as such.
Thank
she
you.
can she can push our agenda if she wants to, but I don't trust her and I don't align with her.
that careless? I'm the same, and I don't actually think that she. And let me not like start speaking for people, but I don't think that that was red meat to the capital B Black grassroots. I don't. I think it's actually it's not for us, but we are on the right side of history and we are promoting the right thing. They cannot say what we advocate for is unconstitutional. They can say what those other numbskulls who've been doing this stuff, who've been basically doing hamster wheeling politics, basically spinning, exerting a lot of energy to make sure we go nowhere. It's basically against them, and they ain't us. But at the same time, so it doesn't mean that, it wasn't an inherently, anti-black or whatever. And but what she was saying is true. We know race-based policies are unconstitutional. But even though what she said was true, I also know that this letter was calling me the hard ER. So it's like, it affirms that we've been on the right side with advocating for lineage-based repair, harm-based repair, status-based, right? It goes to a specific people who are specifically harmed, because those people were not allowed to pass wealth down to their descendants because the government was basically stealing their wealth. They made them pay taxes and didn't give them, didn't allow them access to the resources that they allowed other people access to. You know what I'm saying? So, we know that went on. But so what she said in the letter was right. But I also know that letter was anti me. You know what I'm saying? And that's why I can't really celebrate it, but I can use it as leverage. And maybe that's where I will compartmentalize it, because I can be emotional. And when I'm emotional, I'm not as strategic. You know what I'm saying? So that's where I am with
I
it.
have a question. I have a question for the room and the panel. Like, there was things that was historically racially done to our community. I'm saying that they owe us in both ways, both lineage as well as race. When they had signs on the door saying "No black people allowed," they specifically mean Black Americans or Negro American folks, and they're doing it from a racial manner. And so when I see these things, I look at them as a way of them kind of chipping at the harm, especially if they're not from America. Like, what gives them the right to even talk about even on reparations? That's where I'm kind of at, because we didn't talk about on their AAPI bill that they benefit and that they accused us of harming them. They pushed that right through. So these are just some, and that was on the guise of race. You guys kind of see where I'm coming from. I'm not saying I just don't want them to erase any aspects of our harms that we have accrued um, during our time here in America. Like, nah, nah. Um, I want it all the harms. We need all the money from that.
I agree. I still think we need the United States, but I agree.
I agree too. I think you're kind of saying like what Ish was saying about how we need everything for our own lineage and for, well, I don't think she said for black, but also just on the side of Black Americans or Black people too. So yeah, we need it all. I'd say the same.
Yeah, because now I think that we need to also challenge that. Like, on the Negro side of the game. They always kept saying that Negro is racial. No, but Negro is also lineage as well. It has an ancestry. I think that a lot of these things need to be reviewed and it needs to be challenged, legally, scholarly wise, because there's an agenda to erase us in all levels and to like it, how can I say it? There's a narrative that they want to push that Negro, Black people or Black American people didn't do anything while they were here in the United States, one way or another, and that's kind of been the narrative that has been pushed since God knows when, for over 400 plus years since we came off these plantations, and I just don't. That's just one of the things I just been observing. And the thing is, if they're not one of us, if they don't have a direct issue for the harms, they can't necessarily speak on it. Like, show me the politician that's speaking per se against Jewish things, and they're not really Jewish. They normally get shouted down. They normally lose funding. They normally even get stricken from their jobs. Like, how many black politicians who were not supporting Israel that gotten removed from their position and had the lack of funding? There's a lot of them. So, like, I kind of want that same energy. Like, that's just where I believe in fairness and equality in that regards. Like, if it's going for these small hat guys or whatever they are, who never even did anything for the United States, and we saved them from Dutch's ovens and whatnot, then then I want that and then some. That's where I'm kind of at when I see something like that. So I
Hi,
don't really
Thorough
like
Black
this woman
Talk.
speaking on us. I didn't catch what you said.
I was saying hi to Thorough Black Talk.
Oh, okay. Oh, my bad. BX. So
Yeah,
I want to say thank you for throwing me a mic on this. I'm reviewing the letter now, and my bad. I just came straight up in the room. I just came out shabaking and reading a good book. So you kind of
I
caught me
felt
in my
all
pants
bullied, and when I
now.
said this, why this man bullying us this morning? Oh my God. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, my bad.
It's
I'm a
okay.
church Negro. I'm
I
a church
know. Thank
Negro.
you.
I'm reading
Also,
the.
did you get my message? Did I send you the message? And Coulter was shouting out at FBA with a question. The question was, the New York Times has written a piece, right? And it was talking about the Civil Rights Bill and it being for Black people and other marginalized groups. The New York Times. And Ann Coulter retweets that and she says, hey, FBA, do you recall the civil rights bill being for immigrants or including immigrants? She worded it that way. So I wrote my response and then I ran to everybody sending out this. Look, she's saying FBA, get on the post. She's talking FBA and civil rights. Get on the post, give your response and stuff like that. So some people just opted to share it and some people commented. I got to go back and read the comments.
Yeah, you got to send that to me. So my perspective on that initially it was for us. I'm gonna say a little bit afterwards they did expand it, and that was because of the small hat interference, and they wanted to put in their religious clauses in that situation. So that's what I can
Listen,
remember.
now it's like, which civil rights act were they talking about though? The initial civil rights act, which was in the 1800s, I believe in the 1860s, if I'm not mistaken, or the one 100 years later. You know what I'm saying? Because when it
We're,
was the
we're talking
original,
about the 100 years
come
later. I'm
on.
talking about the 1965.
Okay, so the 1965 one, that's the one that was also with the Immigration Act, right? So it was like kind of like hand in hand
Man.
type of a thing. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and that was the one that they interfered with, and a lot of the things was just like they were pushing this. They were pushing certain
I
things in
acknowledge
that
your
civil rights.
statement, Black Royal.
Hmm?
I was acknowledging Black Royal's statement because she asked for me to send it to her. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Okay.
Go ahead.
No, you good, you good. I ain't tripping about that. We family here. So yeah. When I this is the reason why other groups of people, like Dr. Claude Anderson said, we cannot be in a coalition with other groups of people because they're proving exactly what that brother has been saying for God's no end. Over 50 plus years, he's been talking this talk and writing those books and stuff like that in regards to that. So, so we have to, we can't have other. I think we need to be more guarded. We cannot have any other demographics speaking, talking, advocating, and or supporting us, including the NAACP, all these civil rights organizations. They need to get their status pulled. Like they need to get their 501c3 tax exempt status pulled because they're not doing anything for us. So that's just some of the things that I'm observing because they should have been the first on the carpet, not the DOJ. So it is what it is. What up, Ish? I ain't seen you in a while. And nice picture, by the way.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, thank you. I
And what
made
up,
it.
Kingpin?
What's going on? What's going on, family? Yeah, so I was just listening in, and I agree. There's always a flip side of the coin when it comes to us. When it came to the damages that were inflicted on our people, of course, it was race based, but then they basically changed the rules when it comes to receiving reparations for those damages. We can't do race based. So but I do get your point completely. Also, when it comes to the Civil Rights Act, I think it was 1964. 64. They do make mention of essentially generalized groups of people as opposed to specifically us. It was not specifically for us, and that was the whole trick bag. They would not sign it into law unless they included, religions, different religions, the different genders and things like that, race, religion, and creed, as well as gender. So that's what happened. It was a whole trick bag because they would not sign into law unless it included all those other different groups. So unfortunately, we fought for it, and we kind of said, okay, well, this is the best we're gonna get, and supported it. So, and now here we are.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So,
Thank you, Dre. I think I would really be upset if they cut the check and included the Afro descendant immigrants. Like, I'm just sitting here thinking of what our ancestors had to go through, and they went through it with each other, but not from outsiders, right? And so they get to come in here and just ride our ancestors' coattails. And so when I'm going to do whatever it is business I'm going to be doing, I'm going to be looking at them. Could you imagine the way they disrespect the ancestors now and us? Could you imagine if they got a check off of something that they weren't affected by on this land, but still have CARICOM fighting the Brits for something? I think the immigrants here are fighting the wrong people because CARICOM primarily deals with the islands, but they do deal with the Caribbean descent people, right? So therefore, their goal here should be getting CARICOM to put them on the bill. So that means CARICOM fights for the 15 agency Caribbean islands, associate members, I think it's like 2 associate members, and then the people who were forced to disperse throughout the because they could prove that. I'm getting kind of upset, like, I don't like this too much. Like, I just think some things is not for everybody. You ever
I
have a
agree.
sibling and they had a birthday and you knew you wasn't getting nothing for your sibling's birthday? There we go. Why they not
Right.
thinking they not
No,
us?
and BX, to your point, I don't even just think about to co-sign. I don't even just think about the ancestors. I think about my grandmother. I think about my father. I think about me. I think about my biological mom, and then me having to survive the war on drugs and the crack epidemic. And after my mom went through, her like Air Force training, and then found out that because she was a woman or a black woman, she wasn't going to get the stipend that these other kids were getting. And that kind of like set her off to go partying. And I took my brilliant, beautiful mom, basically took her out of her potential. And I experienced a lot of trauma because of that. Thank God that I had the father that I had, because I actually was able to make a way and actually end up living, surviving the war on drugs. You know what I'm saying? But I think about what we went through. I think about what my grandparents went through, and I'm like, how effing dare you come over here and literally try to commodify the harm that was done specifically to them, commodify the theft, and then with a straight face say that, oh, I'm being divisive because I'm saying you were not harmed by this. Your grandmother didn't see with her own eyes, do not sell to blacks on housing deeds. And even though she had all this money and she worked for the post office and she did everything right, she still couldn't buy homes where she wanted to, even though she had the money to do it. They didn't experience that. You know what I'm saying? And then my grandmother, on the other hand, she was like, well, I know we were we had to buy in Bayview. That's where we were allowed to buy, even though I could afford to buy in pretty much any other area in San Francisco, which that right there cost her a couple of million in real estate property. But she was like, God is good, because if we would have went over there, my children could have been susceptible to terrorism, because they were even doing that in San Francisco back in the 60s. And yet these people are going to come here, most of which were after 1995. Because let's if you look up the Pew Research, You will see that as of 1980s, I think it was only 0.3% of the melanated population in America was foreign born, and then in the mid 90s, it went up to 3%, and then after 2000 is where we got the 10% that we are here right now. So it's very, very sickening that and my grandmother is still alive. She's still living Bayview, but it's like she experienced that, and you got these people saying, you know what, she can't get repaired unless I get a little bit something too. It's disgusting.
I just ran into my one of my peoples that's in legal. She said that that's not good. She just looking over it right now. I'm gonna see if I can get her to the get her into the space. But she's telling me flat out right now that it's not good. So it's kind of what I thought it was, but it's kind of out of my expertise. I'm more like on the investigation side. She's more like on the legal side, like with laws and different stuff like that. So like she would be more she can help clarify that more why it's not good. So give me a couple of seconds. I can see if I can get this sister on real quick, okay? Be on the lookout for Sister Kim on
Oh,
profile. So
okay.
yeah. She's in that realm more than I am.
Okay. Hi, Dred. Did you see the Ann Coulter post?
No, I'm about to look it up right now. I'm at my laptop. That was on X.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
She
Yes,
said, what did
indeed.
she say? Foundational American blacks. That's
Oh,
also,
that's what she said? She didn't say Black
you know
Americans?
what she meant. She ain't us, so she's calling the FBA's, but she said foundational American black. Some people like it's Black Americans, but but
I ain't
she
even touched that. I
hey
ain't even
look,
touched it. I saw the
you know what she meant.
foundational.
It's semantics. She's over here saying, hey, this is what it is. How it isn't smart to be like on the line, hey, by the way, semantics, whatever. She ain't us, but we know who she was talking to and about.
Right.
Hey, she's in the space now. That's it's better with Kim. Okay, that's her.
Okay. Good afternoon.
Okay, good afternoon. Hi, everyone. So, I'm not quite for sure if I should jump in right now because it seems like you guys were cooking, and maybe I should get the thrust of how far you guys gotten so far. Do y'all want to fill me in? What's going on?
Sure. So Asheville, North Carolina was having reparations hearings, right?
Mm-hmm.
Um, and so the Department of Justice Civil Rights Division
Mm-hmm.
contacted the commission and said, look, because of public notice, we know that you're going to propose 38, like a 38-point package for reparations, right?
Mm-hmm.
However, they have some questions. It's alarming because it can violate the Fair Housing Act, Title VI, Title VII, and equality clause, the equality clause of the 14th Amendment. Then they said if they go ahead and put those into action, that they would have been, they'll charge them with violating, they'll charge them with civil rights violations.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
So what's your concerns with this? Are you asking that what is the premises of them putting that letter together, and how does it harm the recovery of reparation? Is that the thoughts that you all having about this letter, or what?
That's one. That's
Mm-hmm.
one. So in a way, we feel it could be a good thing because it should be lineage based,
Mm-hmm.
or it be a way to kind of tank it so that the verbiage will include other people like Black and people of color. Um, did I get that correct, panel?
Uh, oh,
Yeah,
okay. I'm sorry.
Okay,
that's
thank
Yeah,
you.
yeah. Like they were
that's
trying. So one of the things I said, Sister Kim, was like they're trying to all lives matter. Either all lives matter, where they include white T folks, or all lives matter and throwing in melanated immigrants. That was kind of my perspective on that.
Yeah, so what this letter is basically doing, it's putting a barrier or a fence around the city in Nashville, wherever this is, that's basically saying if they issue anything out specifically to a specific group of people, that could be based on race basis, then you are being discriminatory to other groups. So it has hidden language in there that is threatening the commissioners to not just issue that money out where it discriminate against another group. Case in point, the pretendians. The pretendians can claim that they had some kind of association to the history of being enslaved, just using certain vocabulary or vernaculars that would then slide in under the equality, or they're trying to say under the I think it's the civil rights. I think it's the seventh, and I think it's also the eighth. I think that's what they're trying to do under that 1964 discrimination bill, because you can't discriminate based on color, character, origins, nationality, and I believe it's one more, race. And so those are the groups in which now they're trying to say before they pay you anything or you get anything is you got to now jump through these other pre-existing hoops that you have to be willing to succumb to in order to get your check that they want to give everybody else a check. That's pretty much what this letter is doing now. It's basically, and then they told the commissioner if they do issue out anything, it is a task force set up in the Department of Justice to go over the protocols in which they have established to make sure that individuals can get a check, that they are actually giving those checks out to the ones who won, that is qualifying for it, and two, that it's not based just on race. So yeah, that's dangerous. That is put up. It's a thin line to say you could get your reparation, but anyone can start claiming some kind of attachment to it that will allow them also to get paid as well. So that's pretty much what all these arguments with these people who have gotten into the Negroes reparation. It goes down to foundational Black Americans receiving, which is our heirs, Negroes heirs or foundational Black Americans receiving reparation from slavery. They are now interfering with that this is the outcome of that, from them being busybodies in our affairs. So this is the outcome of it. It's just basically everything we get, we have to fight for it, and everything we get, we have to pass it down to other people. And unfortunately, other people doesn't have the character to actually realize that there's just some things that belong to us and respect us enough just to recover from the damages and harm that was caused by either them or caused by others. They just not built on moral fibers at this point. So yeah, this letter is definitely dangerous.
I
Now,
have a quick question
Kim,
for you.
yeah, I'll go after you, DH. I want to ask Sister Kim a question as well.
Yeah. I just wanted to know. You used the word pretendians. Who are you describing as pretendians?
So lately, what I understand now, for my knowledge and my education, I understand Indonesian Indians or Native Indians were a part of the government that had acknowledged them as a tribe, and that they were separate from the United States citizens. Now, when you start dealing with reparation, reparation has nothing to do with enslaved Indians. It has everything to do with enslaved Negroes. I'm a Negro, and my mother a Negro. Virginia, we come from Virginia, Texas. So that Emancipation Proclamation is talking about my folks. And so I have a lot of individuals who have now been able to just use the term Black, and now they're associated with the also with the reparation that goes back to some kind of harm that had nothing to do with Negroes being the property of white people, who children who was thrown in fireplaces by white women. This has nothing to do with Indians. These have everything to do with my grandmother and my grandmother's mother.
Can I say something real fast? When it
Go
comes
ahead.
to enslaved people from India, not Indonesia, just to clarify, India, that was not something that happened in America. So
No, I
when you
didn't
see
say.
So when you see documents of Indians being enslaved in America, those were actually American Indian people who some of us may descend from.
Okay.
So
Yeah, no, I'm not. Yeah, that's fine and dandy that you have the history